All right, get ready, because what just went down in Indiana isn't your average coaching call or some minor spat between a player and her staff. No, this is much bigger. What we're seeing play out right now is nothing short of a power struggle, live in the middle of the WNBA season. And at the very heart of this storm, Caitlin Clark. Yes, that Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying talent in the WNBA, the golden girl of college basketball, and arguably the single most influential figure in women's sports today. She was set to return, suited up, ready to get back on the court. And yet the Indiana Fever, led by head coach Stephanie White, slammed the door shut. If you want the unfiltered truth, not the polished PR soundbites, make sure to subscribe. And if you're here for the next big breakdown, you better definitely subscribe, because this saga isn't going away. Here's the crazy part. No warning, no clear reasoning, no satisfying explanation. Fans are fuming, analysts are scratching their heads, and Caitlin Clark, she's sitting on the sidelines, cleared to play, but deliberately benched while the internet spirals into speculation, frustration, and a whole lot of side-eye directed at the Fever's front office. Let's back up for a second and look at what we know. Practice footage, interviews, and those raw, emotional social media posts all painted the same picture. Caitlin Clark was ready. She wasn't limping, she wasn't tentative, she wasn't just going through the motions. She was on the floor, hitting shots, running through drills, joking with teammates. Her energy, still radiant. Her game, still elite. And yet, no playing time. No chance to help her team make that playoff push. Instead, we got vague coach speak. A few empty statements about long-term health and player preservation, and maybe that excuse flies if Clark hadn't been medically cleared. But she was. And not just cleared to jog or stretch, she was cleared to play. That's why fans everywhere are asking the obvious question, why bench her now? And let's be honest, this goes way deeper than simply holding out a player. This is about a generational superstar being sidelined while the team hides behind the word precaution. But fans aren't blind. They don't forget, and they definitely don't fall for flimsy excuses. You can't spend months hyping up Caitlin Clark as the savior of your franchise only to dim the spotlight right when the season starts to heat up. Not without a real, convincing reason. Because protecting her future, that doesn't fly when Caitlin herself is telling the world she's desperate to play. That emotional post, "I missed this so bad," it hit like a punch to the gut. No scripted press release could compete with that. It wasn't PR, it wasn't manufactured, that was raw honesty. That was a competitor aching to get back in the fight. And it only fueled suspicions that this wasn't about health at all, it was about control. Control of the narrative, control of the brand, control of Caitlin Clark. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. She isn't just some promising rookie anymore. She's already a force of nature. She's not sitting around waiting for permission to be great, she's already there. And that kind of star power, it changes the entire equation. The Fever might have hoped to ease her into stardom, a year of slow development, manageable expectations, careful pacing so the team wouldn't drown under the media spotlight. But Clark didn't walk in quietly. She came in like a wildfire. Sold-out arenas, jerseys flying off the shelves, non-stop national coverage. Overnight, Indiana Fever basketball became the Caitlin Clark experience. And that's the real issue. When your rookie becomes the face of the entire league overnight, tension is inevitable. Quiet resentment builds, and leadership scrambles for control. Let's not sugarcoat it. The WNBA has never faced a player this young, this talented, and this popular at the same time. It's completely uncharted territory. For a coaching staff and front office used to steady, controlled development, Clark's rise feels like a rocket they can't steer. And that's why so many people believe this decision wasn't about safety, it was about power. Think about it. You have a player driving ratings, selling tickets, and drawing national headlines. A rookie whose influence rivals top male athletes. And the team decides to sit her down. Not because of injury, but because they've decided it's better for her. That doesn't sound like leadership. That sounds like gatekeeping. And it sends a brutal message to players everywhere. Even if you're healthy, even if you're ready, even if you're Caitlin Clark, you still don't get to decide. It's the same tired, patronizing playbook women athletes have dealt with for decades. We know what's best for you. But here's the problem. Fans don't buy it. The rest of the league doesn't buy it. And the truth is, the Fever can't afford it. Her absence hasn't just cost them games. It's drained their momentum. Ratings are dipping, ticket sales are cooling, the energy, the buzz, the hype, gone. Because whether you love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the WNBA right now. She's the viral clip. She's the trending headline. She's the reason new fans are tuning in. Benching her? That's not just questionable, it's brand suicide. Which brings us to the bigger picture. This isn't just a Fever misstep. This is a league-wide crossroads. If the WNBA truly wants to ride this wave, if it wants to transform Caitlin Clark's hype into sustainable, long-term growth, then it needs to let her play. Trust her instincts, trust her readiness, trust her ability to elevate the entire product on the floor. Stop treating her like a marketable mascot who can be rolled out for commercials but hidden when the stakes get high. Because here's the scary truth. If the league fumbles this moment, it risks losing everything. Alienating fans, stifling its brightest star, and sending a message to every young athlete that even if you break records, even if you move merchandise, even if you carry an entire sport on your back, someone else will still decide your story. And Caitlin Clark deserves better. She deserves to be trusted, respected, and granted the same agency male stars receive without question. Can you even imagine the Lakers telling LeBron James, "You're cleared, but we're keeping you on the bench for long-term reasons"? Exactly! It would never happen, and it shouldn't happen here. Clark isn't fragile. She isn't naive. She's a professional athlete and a competitor. If she says she's ready, then unless there's undeniable evidence of major risk, you let her play. So what happens next? Two possible roads. The Fever eventually cave to mounting public pressure, craft some narrative about final clearances, and unleash Clark to thunderous applause. Or they double down, keep her benched, and risk losing not just their fans, but Caitlin's trust. And losing Caitlin's trust, that's the real danger. Because once a player feels silenced or sidelined unfairly, they don't forget. When that rookie contract expires, when free agency rolls around, when the cameras are still pointed at her, loyalty runs thin. And if Indiana loses Caitlin Clark after all this, game over. Which is why every lineup drop, every cryptic post, every vague comment from leadership feels so loaded. Everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see if they'll finally do the right thing. Because at this point, the Fever aren't just benching Caitlin Clark, they're benching the very future of women's basketball. And that's what makes this so much bigger than one player or one team. This is about the balance of power in women's sports. Who really holds it? The athletes who drive the game, or the institutions that manage them? The WNBA has always fought for growth, for visibility, for respect. And then, Caitlin Clark arrived, the most marketable, talked-about star the league has ever seen. A dream come true. But here's the catch. The WNBA didn't build her brand. She arrived as a ready-made cultural phenomenon. All the WNBA had to do was get out of the way. And yet, here we are. Instead of celebrating her, the Fever have tried to manage her, contain her, control her. But you can't control a storm. You either ride it or it levels you. And right now, Indiana is in danger of being flattened. So what happens if or when Caitlin Clark returns? Do they pretend nothing happened? Limit her minutes and claim they're easing her in? Let her take over and hope it distracts everyone from weeks of confusion? Or worse, keep her benched even deeper into the season? None of those choices erase the damage. Every path forward is scorched because they broke the cardinal rule of sports PR. When your star is ready to shine, get out of the way. Now they've made themselves the villain in a story they didn't even write. The fans are on Clark's side. The media is on Clark's side. And if things don't change soon, Caitlin Clark's future might be written somewhere else. So here we are. A superstar benched, a franchise flailing, and a league forced to confront what happens when one player grows bigger than the system built to contain her. Caitlin Clark is still waiting, still ready, still dangerous. The only question is, who will deserve her when she steps back on the court? So now I'll throw it to you. Should Caitlin have the final say in her return? Is this really about strategy and safety, or something much more cynical? Drop your take in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns of the drama, the power, and the meltdowns that are reshaping sports today.